Hello and welcome to this video on expanding quadratic expressions part 2. This time we are going to be doing a bit more advanced quadratic expression that you might see. When I say that, what I mean is when we have something like 2x plus 3 multiplied by 3x plus 4. This time it is not just x's, we have got 2x and we have got 3x. Let me just tell you right now that there is no difference in how we do this. We still use FOIL. First, outer, inner, last. I should also point out that if you have not seen part 1 on expanding basic quadratic expressions, I recommend watching that. We use FOIL, first, outer, inner, last. Let me write this down here. First, outer, inner, and last. This acronym is talking about multiplication. We use multiplication. So the way that we do this, if you've seen my last video, you should know what we do first. But what we do is we take our first part of our acronym, which is actually the word first, and we know that that means that we take the first term in our first bracket and we are multiplying it with the first term in our second bracket. So the first term in our first bracket and we are multiplying it by the first term in our second bracket. Now, before we saw that x times x is equal to x squared, and that is still the same here. But we're not just doing x times x, we also have to do 2 times 3. So here we have 2 times 3 is 6, so I'm going to write 6. And x times x is x squared, so I'm going to add on x squared. So 2x times 3x we write as 6x squared. That is pretty much the only difference. After that, it is basically the same. Our outers, we take 2x over here and we multiply it with 4. Before we only had 1x multiplying with 4. This time we have 2x multiplying with 4. So we have to do 2 times 4, which is 8. So I write 8x. For our inner, we take our inner term here, which is positive 3. We multiply it with our inner term on the second bracket, which is 3x. Before we just had 1x. Now we have 3x. 3 times 3 is 9. So we write 9x. And for our last, we take our positive 3 here, we multiply it with our positive 4 over here. 3 times 4 is 12, so I write 12. Put pluses between your terms, equals sign out the front, and that is the answer to that question. However, we can go a step further. We do have some like terms here, and we can combine those together. So I can write 6x squared plus, so we take our like terms, 8 plus 9 is 17. So I can write 17x plus there and put our 12 on the end. That is our final answer. Either of those answers are good. The second answer down here is just a little bit more accurate and complete. I'll do one more example of a bit of a harder one that you might find. You might find one like this, where we have 3x take 4 times y plus 6. You might see a question like that. 3x take 4, y plus 6. Let me tell you, we use the same acronym. First, outer, inner, and last. We use the same acronym this time. Again, first, outer, inner, and last. So for our first, we take our first term there and we multiply it with our first term there. And you'll be like, Mr. Woodfield, how do you do that? 3x times y? You can't multiply x and y together. Well, no, you can't really. So it makes it a bit more easier for us then, because we can just write 3xy. 3 times x we saw was 3x. X times y is xy. So 3xy. That's what we can do for that one. Now we can move on to outers. We take our outer term here and we multiply it with our outer term here. 3x times positive 6. Put in your calculator 3 times 6, or you may know it already, to be 18x. Our inners. We take our inner term here, which is negative 4, and we multiply it with our inner term here, which is y. Negative 4 times y, we can just write as negative 4y. And finally, our last. We take our last term in our first bracket, which is negative 4, and we multiply that with the last term in our second bracket, which is positive 6. Negative 4 times positive 6 is equal to negative 21. So I'll write negative 24. Once we've got our 4 terms, our first, our outer, our inner, and our last, we can put pluses between them and a little equal sign up the front. Now there really isn't anything else you can do here because we haven't got any like terms. We have got 18x here, yes, but this has got a y, not an x, so we can't combine them together. We could rewrite it really quickly as 3xy plus 18x minus 4y minus 24. We don't need those extra pluses in there, but I think it makes more sense and looks a bit better having those pluses. Either way, these are both the right answer. Hope that has made some sense to you. Thank you for watching these videos. Have a good day.